It's time for the Rutherford County High School Football Show.
Today's show is brought to you by Webb Aesthetic Plastic Surgery and Med Spa, your hometown plastic surgeon that has been voted your favorite for the last several years. Dr. Webb and staff are honored to wish you a safe and successful football season. Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. The Yard Sale Store, where all items are up to 90% off. Michael Wilson with First Bank Mortgage. If you're buying, building, or refinancing your home in Rutherford County, give him a call at 615-596-2006. Garbison Construction, they have been impacting and investing in people's lives in Rutherford County for nearly 3 decades, providing quality construction services for additions, remodels, and new construction on residential and commercial projects. And the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Remember, fans don't let fans drive drunk.
And now, from Toots Restaurant in Murfreesboro, please welcome the hosts of the Rutherford County High School Football Show, Murfreesboro Post Sports Editor Monte Hale and Nick Gould.
Good morning and welcome to the Rutherford County High School Football Show. I'm Nick Gould, and alongside me is Murfreesboro Post Sports Editor Monte Hale. We're here at Toots Restaurant on Broad Street in Murfreesboro to give you everything you need to know about high school football for all 11 teams in Rutherford County. Regular season finished up on Friday, and now we're into the playoffs. 9 out of the 11 Rutherford County teams made the playoffs, so there will be plenty to talk about as we get into November. Today we'll recap all 9 Rutherford County games played last week, take a look at how those results affected the final standings. We will be announcing this week's Player of the Week and previewing next week's matchups, finishing up with our selected Rutherford County Game of the Week. We also have an interview with PCA quarterback Tatum Marks, another interview with Blackman quarterback Carter Gregory and tackle Xavier Wesley. We also have a coach's interview with Eagleville head coach Floyd Walker. The Rutherford County High School Football Show is presented by Webb Aesthetic, your hometown plastic surgeon who has been voted your favorite for the last several years. Dr. Webb and staff are honored to wish you a safe and successful football season. First up, we have MTCS. The Cougars hosted region opponent Ezel Harding on Thursday night and won big, 51-7. This MTCS segment is brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. Eli Wilson rushed for 169 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yates Guerin completed 3 of 6 for 85 yards and a touchdown and added 8 carries for 63 yards and another one. Brooks Jones and Riley Brown also added touchdowns on the ground, and Greg Hassan got one through the air. Owen White led the defense with 9 tackles, including a sack, and Seth Harris had 5 tackles and a 40-yard pick six. Not a bad way to end the season, Monty.
No, you want to go into the playoffs on a uptick, and of course MTCS gets a bye in the first round of the playoffs, so been a great regular season for them, but they've got unfinished business. This team was kind of made and built for the long haul. And, they're not going to be satisfied unless they're playing in Chattanooga in December.
Right. I know they're probably going to see a matchup with Friendship coming up here in a few weeks.
I'm sure they will, yeah. Those two teams are pretty evenly matched. Friendship certainly feels they owe them one. But you got to take care of your business first. We don't know a lot about these teams they're going to be playing in the West. I know Jackson Christian's a good team every year, so don't know much about the opponents, but I know a lot about MTCS, and they're at the top of their game. They put that one away real quickly the other night.
Yeah, how about Eli Wilson again with another huge game?
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player. He's had a great career. I don't know if he'll win Mr. Football. The kid at Friendship may have something to say about that, but I think he's certainly worthy of a nomination for Mr. Football.
Absolutely. I know going into a bye week, some teams can struggle with that, taking some time off, kind of getting out of that rhythm. Other teams, can use the rest, can use a little more time in the film room, time just working on things that they need to work on rather than working on another team per se.
I think the big advantage with the technology these days, I'm sure they're already breaking down both possible opponents for the second round. So that's a big advantage. You can pick up on their tendencies and what they run out of this formation versus this formation. So I think they'll handle the whole thing well because they're such a senior-laden class.
Well, good win by the Cougars. Great season for MTCS this year. And that is your MTCS segment brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. Next, we have another region champion, Smyrna, who traveled to Cane Ridge on Thursday and won 33-21. This Smyrna segment is brought to you by the Yard Sale Store, where all items are up to 90% off. Austin Morris completed 17 of 23 for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. Thomas Jones rushed 14 times for 53 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jones also added a 78-yard receiving touchdown on the day. Tyreek McCarver hauled in 6 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown, and Jonathan Messer also caught a touchdown. Thomas Jones not only led the offense with 3 touchdowns, but he also led the defense with 11 solo tackles, 12 total including a sack. Smyrna really has come alive here in the second half of the season.
Oh, golly, you look back to when they opened the season against Riverdale, and it was a train wreck. And, they were 0-4, and now they've reeled off 6 in a row. We've talked about how they've been defensively have been pretty sound all year. Just it took a while to get the offense going. I mean, you mentioned Austin Morris, 17 out of 23. That's much more efficient than he was early in the year, and they get the ball in their athletes' hands. McCarver, Thomas Jones, who's really had an outstanding career there and a fantastic athlete. So you got to like they're number 1 seed, and they went out and earned it.
Yeah, Smyrna. I mean, they started off 0-4, and they've won 6 straight. It's almost like they're a completely different team.
Well, they are.
From what we saw.
No question. Matt Williams does a good job with that bunch, and, he never batted an eye when they were 0-4, and, they got the first one, then they got another one, and then they got on a roll, and here they are.
Remember how we were talking about wide open region? It was wide open, and Smyrna took care of it, right?
came down to really week 9 when they beat Antioch.
Yeah, huge win.
So, it's been an interesting region to say the least.
Congratulations to Smyrna, the region champion in Region 5, 6A. And that is your Smyrna segment brought to you by the Yard Sale Store, where all items are up to 90% off. Eagleville hosted Cornersville in a critical playoff atmosphere type game. Took care of business, winning 23-14. This Eagleville segment is brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. Cornersville got on the board first, but Eagleville answered in the second with a 33-yard touchdown pass from Brody McElmore to Elijah Ferns. Eagleville forced 2 turnovers in the first half, which led to a 33-yard field goal from Jeremiah Broyles and a Cade Pippinger rushing touchdown. Caleb Snitzer had a pick on defense and a 48-yard touchdown run on offense, with the only second-half score securing the victory and a playoff spot. Huge win for the Eagles, Monty.
Yeah, me and you were talking off air. I think they might have been able to slip in anyway, but their mindset was we've got to go out and win this game against a tough opponent. Cornersville has an outstanding program, and had been playing pretty well, and Eagleville bowed their necks. They played really good defense and got out of there with a win. Now they're back in the playoffs for the 7th consecutive year and the 15th time in program history. So, and they haven't been playing football too terribly long. So they were, their coach Floyd Walker talks about not building a team, building a program that regardless of who you lose, it's the next group's turn the following year, and they don't miss too many beats.
Yeah, huge for them. I mean, it was really all up to them. They played Richland, they played Cornersville, and it was 2 of those teams were going to make it, and one of those teams wasn't.
Yeah,
they made sure that they were the 3rd team in, not even the 4th. So,
and they also, had to, in lurking in there was Wayne County, but they had one more loss. It turned out they had, 2 more losses than Eagle. And that was a game that was kind of a head scratcher when they lost it. But fortunately, it didn't come back and haunt them.
Yeah. Love the way they were able to turn things around. They kind of had a slight hiccup there in the middle of the season, but they're in the playoffs nonetheless.
Yeah.
That's your Eagleville segment brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, Neighborly Pest Service serving all of Middle Tennessee. Stewart's Creek hosted McGavock on Friday night and won big, 45-6. The Stewart's Creek segment is brought to you by Michael Wilson with First Bank Mortgage. If you're buying, building, or refinancing your home in Rutherford County, give him a call. Caleb Floyd got on the board first with a rushing touchdown, which is followed up with a Daniel Johnson rushing touchdown. Garrell Watson scored on defense with a scoop and score. Kenneth Jordan scored on a 65-yard kickoff return and a 65-yard punt return. Avery Jones threw a 43-yard touchdown pass to Kai Mangrum in the fourth, and Ihad Habib was 6 for 6 on PATs and added a 23-yard field goal. This is about what we expected from the Redhawks against a struggling McGavock.
No doubt, but, big positive. They got all 3 phases in the game. Jordan's a dynamic playmaker, and, you got somebody who can bring it back to the house with the return game. That certainly can change momentum in a game, and it can help you win games. And obviously, McGavock struggled. They don't score any points, and then offensively they did, plenty enough to win that game. No surprise there at all. But they have a 7-win season going right now, so that's a solid year.
Almost similar to Eagleville, it seemed like Stewart's Creek got off to a good start, and then they kind of had a slight hiccup there, maybe middle of the season, but they've come back strong. I think that's 2 or 3 in a row now for them.
Yeah, I mean they'll be a formidable opponent in the playoffs. It's going to get tougher for that region. I'm sure we'll get into that when we preview these games. But I mean, congratulations to the Creek and Smyrna for getting into the playoffs. But you're going to be facing, regardless of where you're seated, a better team than any that was in your region.
True. And so, I did see if they were to overcome the odds and win next week, if both Stewart's Creek and Smyrna won, I think they'd play each other again.
Yeah.
That's a matchup, us Rutherford County folks would love to see.
Yeah. It's you gotta beat them once, and then you gotta turn right around and beat them again in the playoffs. Gotta go right back through your region again.
Exactly. And that's our Stewart's Creek segment brought to you by Michael Wilson with First Bank Mortgage. If you're buying, building, or refinancing your home in Rutherford County, give them a call. PCA hosted Webb on Thursday night and finished out their first 11-man season 5-5 with an 18-7 victory. This PCA segment is brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. PCA rushed for over 193 yards and threw for 78. Quarterback Tatum Marks ran in 2 touchdowns. Lions also added an interception on defense. Monty 5-5 and a home playoff game next week isn't bad for their first 11-man season.
Great for them. This was a different opponent that was winless in Webb, but Webb did move up a class. So this was a double-A team they had faced, and Webb had faced a bunch of really good opponents. So that's just another test that PCA passed this year. They have a 5-5 regular season, not just in the playoffs, but hosting a game as a 3 seed. Their opponent is a 3 seed. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare in their first ever playoff game now.
Yeah, that's true. I think because, they had that extra win against, a non-region team, they're able to play again at Floyd Stadium. And that's got to be a great playoff atmosphere for both teams, playing at a big college stadium like that.
Yeah, I've talked to Coach Ferguson a couple times, and he says his kids really like going over. They like getting in the bus, going over there, playing on the field turf. So it's been a good experience for them.
Wonder how long that's going to carry through. I know, MTSU's kind of had a weird schedule all year. They'll play on Tuesday, Wednesday. It doesn't seem to matter for them. PCA, they'll play Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, they've had a few Thursday games. I don't know what the timetable is on their stadium. They've got to get lights, and they've got to have bleachers, and
Yeah.
so it's a ever ongoing battle. When your school's growing, though, you've got more money coming in. So, and their school is growing at an incredible rate, not just for athletics, but for academics and everything that goes with it.
Well, I look forward to a bright future for PCA. Definitely off to a good start here. And I was at Floyd Stadium and got an interview with quarterback Tatum Marks after the game. Let's go to that now. We're here at Floyd Stadium. I'm with quarterback of PCA, Tatum Marks. Tatum, tell us about this 18-6 victory over Webb School today.
It was a good one. The boys fought hard, and I'm glad we just come in for that.
And, being at Floyd Stadium, playing under the lights, how special is it in your inaugural 11-man season to play in such a big stadium?
It's really special, especially for me, because my dad used to play quarterback here, so it's pretty cool to play the same field he's playing on.
So it's almost like just following in the Marks tradition.
Yeah.
Have you, I know you're a junior, but have you thought about maybe playing at the collegiate level here in a few years?
Maybe if it's in the cards for me down.
I know MTSU might be looking at legacy coming in. But tell us about the transition from 8-man football into 11-man as you all get ready for the playoffs.
It's definitely different, but, just because we were playing 8-man football doesn't mean we're going to play football. We were still getting after it. And Coach Ferg has been leading us well, and I guess we'll play out down and see what happens.
Yeah, 5-5 in your first season here, in Division II. Heck of a season. What do y'all look to do to prepare for the first round?
Thank you. But, just keep on doing what we're doing, and it's God's plan, so let's see what it brings.
Well, Tatum, thanks for talking with me today.
Thank you.
Good luck to you in the postseason. I'm Nick Gould with Main Street Media.
I'm Dr. Webb. I'm the owner and operator of Webb Aesthetic Plastic Surgery here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We offer services for both men and women, breast, body, and face for both.
I meet with patients who are ready to schedule surgery. We talk about their pre-op appointments, what to expect before surgery, what to expect during and after surgery.
We graduated medical school and nursing school the same day, and I had things that I believed in and stood by that I wasn't willing to compromise on. So when he came home, we had to discuss that we were on the same page with how we treated patients and staff. We want them to feel like they're part of our family.
If you're looking for a great deal, look no further than the Yard Sale Store. Our locally owned and award-winning store is stocked with daily arrivals of new items at unbeatable prices. From housewares to sporting goods, flooring to furniture, we have everything you need. With our huge selection and discounts up to 90% off retail, you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Visit us today at one of our 3 convenient locations or check out our website, yardsalestore.com, to see our latest arrivals.
When it comes to building or remodeling, you need a builder you can trust. Look no further than Garbison Construction. Voted one of Rutherford County's best builders, we deliver quality every time, from start to finish. As a locally owned company with decades of experience, we're proud to serve Rutherford and surrounding counties. Let us help make your dream a reality. Visit garbisonconstruction.com to learn more.
What separates us from other companies in Tennessee, that's going to be our mission to our customers, is to always improve the quality of life. That's from taking care of your pest to a friendly voice on the phone when you call, to a technician that comes out and he's competent, he's going to solve the problem for you. We're considered a full encompassing service, so we're going to take care of 50 plus different pests, and we'll always have your back.
Thanks for sticking with us here on the Rutherford County High School Football Show as we continue to recap the games played last week. Laverne hosted region opponent Antioch in their last game of the season. Came up short 28-14. This Laverne segment is brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. Laverne quarterback Dominic Jones rushed for both touchdowns, and Juan Cruz kicked in both PATs. Just wasn't enough for the Wolverines to stay in it. That's going to be it for them this year.
Yeah, tough way to end the year. They needed one more win in the region, and obviously they're going to look back at the Cane Ridge game when they lost 3-0 is really what did them in, or they'd be playing this week as well. Antioch, they're going to score points, and their quarterback is a freshman, so and he's really dynamic already. So that guy's going to give them nightmares for 3 more years in that region. But yeah, 14's not going to be enough against Antioch. They're not a great defensive team, but they can put the points on the board.
Yeah, and Laverne, it wasn't necessarily a bad season, like you said. 3-point difference in that one game, they'd be in the playoffs. They played everybody close. Pretty good effort on defense for the most part, and you just got to win a few more games to really make it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their season. They had players out. They struggled terribly offensively till really probably about week 7. They started getting some things going, but just a tough year. But I know Coach Woodward does a really good job. While they're a 6A team, they're really not 6A in numbers. They don't have near as many players out playing football as the other schools in the county does. So their opportunity to build depth is very difficult, and that's what you get. You get a 3-7 season, unfortunately.
And that's your Laverne segment, brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. Siegel traveled to Rockville in a do-or-die scenario. Came out on top, 20-7. The Siegel at Rockville game recap segment is brought to you by Garbison Construction, who provides quality construction services for additions, remodels, and new construction on residential and commercial projects in Rutherford County. And Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. Quentin Grove set up the Stars with a pick in the Rockets zone, which led to a Caleb Watson touchdown from A.J. Cucchiera. Groves then forced a fumble on the next drive, which was recovered in the end zone by Maddox Grisham, making it 14-0. Rockville was able to put together a 71-yard drive with a Deckel Kennedy touchdown, making it 14-7 at the half. In the second half, Cucchiera kept an option for himself and scored on a 54-yard touchdown run. Siegel forced some huge turnovers on the day, and Rockville had 14 penalties, which didn't help. What do you think of this one, Monty?
I'll start with Rockville.
Yeah.
We've talked about this every week. You just don't know what you're going to get with Rockville. Very talented team. They can still cause a lot of problems for some folks in the playoffs, but it's the inconsistency that has just bit them all year. I mean, you mentioned 14 penalties. 14 penalties in the 10th week of the season now.
And that's over 100 yards worth of penalties.
It's a football field that you lost. And in week 10, okay, week 1, you're scrambling around. You're trying to dot your I's, cross your T's, but it's really surprising for that to happen in week 10. But they still got in the playoffs. They're a 4 seed. We got to go to Mount Juliet, I believe, and
yep.
So we'll see. Now Siegel, you just got to tip your hat to the coaching staff, but more so the players and the leaders of that team. You're talking about a team that's 4-0, rolling, loses its quarterback, loses 5 straight games. Got to have some things to happen to go their way, including winning. And lo and behold, it went their way. But you got to give their players a lot of credit because, it's tough walking down them halls when you're getting beat every week, and you got to go to practice, how fun can that be? But they made it fun, or they did something, and they got lightning in the bottle last week and went out, and I'll be honest with you, I'd kind of written them off. So that's my fault for doing that. You can't ever underestimate anyone this time of year. So that's the thing about all these teams that are in the playoffs. I mean, we know who a lot of the contenders are, but that don't mean the 4th seed can't beat a 1. I remember over in Dyer County one year, they had 1 win and played a team that was undefeated, and they knocked them off in the first round of the playoffs. So it's a new season now, and kudos for Siegel for getting there.
Yeah, I don't think you were the only one, Monty. I mean, that was 6 years in a row they hadn't made the playoffs, and this was looking like their year. And lo and behold, things don't go their way second half of the season, but look at them now, right? They broke that streak, and they're in the playoffs.
And they've got athletes. You mentioned Groves. He's been a ball hawk all year. He's just always around the ball, making stuff happen. You got to have players like that.
Yeah. And that's your Siegel at Rockvale game recap segment, brought to you by Garbison Construction, who provides quality construction services for additions, remodels, and new construction on residential and commercial projects in Rutherford County. And Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee. Last week's Rutherford County Game of the Week was well-deserved with a region championship where Riverdale traveled to Oakland in the Battle of the Borough. The Warriors were able to put them away for the first time in several years, beating the Patriots 25-24 and taking the regular season region title. This Riverdale at Oakland game recap segment is brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, your neighborly pest service serving all of Middle Tennessee, and the Art Sale Store, where all items are up to 90% off. Oakland got on the board first with a 33-yard field goal from Jacob Taylor. He also added 3 points throughout the game on PATs. Oakland continued to score via Dwayne Morris, who had 2 touchdowns and nearly 300 all-purpose yards. Ashton Jones also ran in a touchdown late in the 4th, which gave the Patriots the lead with 2.5 minutes left. Riverdale quarterback Braden Graham completed 30 of 40 for 313 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dominic Taylor rushed 12 times for 54 yards and a touchdown. Keyshawn Williams had 9 receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown, and Brock Montgomery had 7 receptions for 104 yards and a touchdown. Khalil Armand was 2 for 2 on PATs and added a 40-yard field goal. Braylon Vanderbilt dove for the 2-point conversion late in the game off a tipped ball to seal the victory. Oakland did end up getting the ball back, down 1, but J.C. Haynes had a huge strip sack, which put Riverdale in the victory formation as time expired. What a game, Monty.
Great game. Oh, my gosh. I've seen a lot of great ones over the years between them two, just like, similar. And that, that's what it's about. That's what a great rivalry is about. I guess the big thing stands out, we're going to talk about the drive and then electing to go for 2, but I really thought the turning point for Riverdale was they came out and they grew up. That first drive, they went 80 yards after halftime, was pivotal. It was a methodical 80-yard drive. They cut the lead to 17-7, and they were on their way. Fired their defense up. Their defense made plays, and you can look at certain points in games. I thought that was big, huge, because if Oakland gets a stop and goes and scores, and it's 24-0, it's gonna be hard to overcome that. So that was a swing score for them, and then after that, it was on, as they say. 2 teams going at it. They elected to go for 2. I always like that call. It's easy to just be sitting there and make that call, but it's a tough call. And he got tipped. They got a break. Guy made a good catch, and so Riverdale gets the 1 seed. Oakland the 2. I know he's got to get his kids back down to earth now.
Yeah.
I don't think Coach Creasy has to say much of anything. They know what's expected of them in Oakland, and their former players put the heat on them. You got a standard to live up to, and if things go as we would think be accordingly, we'll get to do it again in 3 weeks, and
I can't wait.
And there'll be more hype,
Yeah.
surrounding it. So,
Well, this game was played at Oakland, and the visiting team won, and lo and behold, we play here in 3 weeks, and it's going to be at the other stadium.
Yeah,
Riverdale is going to be hosting.
yeah, Riverdale's got the top seed, so Oakland's the 2. So, if that happens, I'm definitely look forward to that.
I do agree with you, though. I mean, they were down 17-0 at half. I looked at the score. I thought, all right, well, Oakland's going to win another one. But, as things went, it just kept getting closer. And you got to tip your hat to the offense led by Braden Graham and his slew of talented receivers.
Got them everywhere.
Yeah.
And, when we talked about that last week, though, talent was not going to be the issue
No.
in this game for Riverdale. It was no talent. They got talent all over the field. I mean, as much as anybody in this state. But would they be able to handle the moment? Can they get over that Oakland hurdle? And it's been a mighty hurdle for everybody, for 3 years across the state, not just here in Rutherford County. And they handled it, and had to go to 17-0. If you're down 17-0 against those Cats, 99% of the time you're done. They step on your throat, and they weren't able to do it, and that's because of the talent of Riverdale and how well they handled the adversity in that game, and there was plenty of it.
Look forward to a rematch here in a couple weeks, if we're so lucky. But this Riverdale at Oakland game recap segment is brought to you by Moxie Pest Control, Neighborly Pest Service serving all of Middle Tennessee, and the Yard Sale Store, where all items are up to 90% off. Blackman hosted Coffee County and won pretty easily, 31-14. Coffee County started the game with an onside kick, but were unable to convert the field goal, and the Blaze got the ball and scored off Caden Perkins' run as he totaled 3 touchdowns on the day. The Blaze defense was able to force 2 big turnovers inside their own red zone, which prevented Coffee County from putting too many points on the board. Jaden Guy led the receivers with 138 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Borum-Bozen was 4 for 4 on PATs and added a 29-yard field goal. Good effort from Blackman on Friday night, but due to a tiebreaker, their season's over.
Yeah, it's funny we mentioned this game. I said if Blackman wins, or even if Blackman loses and Siegel lost, it's set. And I said, now if we get in a 3-way tie, I'll just have to wait till they tell me who's in there.
Exactly.
That's what I did. But evidently everybody knew when that game was over that Blackman was not going to the playoffs. But a good way to end their year, first year for Matt Kreisky. They made a lot of improvement. It may not show necessarily in the win-loss, but certainly major improvement. Got a ton of players coming back. So they've got a lot to build on in the offseason.
Yeah, and I was at the Blackman game, and kind of like you said, they were celebrating their victory. A region victory by more than 2 touchdowns is never a bad thing, but everybody seemed to know that Siegel did come out on top, and that was kind of the nail in the coffin more than anything.
Yeah. So they needed another win. They could have easily won the week before, and it'd been a moot point.
That was it.
The Blackman game.
It was Blackman to Rock Bell.
The Rock Bell game. Yeah.
Yep. That was it.
And you know what won that game? Special teams, an onside kick. So I like to harp on special teams. So you can say their inability to recover an onside kick ultimately cost them in the end.
Absolutely. And I stayed after the game on Friday and caught an interview with Blackman quarterback Carter Gregory and tackle Xavier Wesley. Also caught a highlight of the last touchdown of the season, run in by Caden Perkins. Let's go to that now.
Perkins on the carry up the right side. Touchdown, Clay.
We're at Blackman High School with quarterback Carter Gregory and tackle Xavier Wesley. Tell us about this win today, 31-14 over Coffee County.
Yeah, it's huge. Going out with these guys. I know that in the county, some things didn't go our way. That was the beginning of our season. There's nobody I love more than these guys.
Xavier, tell us about this season. I know you guys had a winning season this year. Went on a bang.
It was a good one. I mean, we got Perk to 1,000 yards. Taylor Perkins, he ran the ball hard for us all season, and we just fought. Some things just didn't go our way, and we had a amazing battle like that. One last time, it was amazing.
And tell us about what we have coming up later in the year. I know you're playing baseball this year, Carter. Are you looking forward to that in the spring?
It's just another chance to get out there and block and do what I do, and hopefully bring this energy out there.
And Xavier, are you looking at playing ball next year?
No, sir. I'm a junior at Blackman High School. We're hopefully going to win nationals maybe February. I got to go to college
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the interview with me today, guys. Nick Gould with Main Street Media.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, guys.
What separates us from other companies in Tennessee, that's going to be our mission to our customers, is to always improve the quality of life. That's from taking care of your pest to a friendly voice on the phone when you call, to a technician that comes out and he's competent, he's going to solve the problem for you. We're considered a full encompassing service, so we're going to take care of 50 plus different pests, and we'll always have your back.
I'm blessed through the blood of Christ, with a beautiful wife and family, to have served in the United States Navy, now serving the great town of Smyrna, and blessed that all of our boys went to Stewart's Creek. I'm Michael Wilson with First Bank Mortgage, with over 20 years experience in mortgage lending. If you're buying your first house or your fifth, refinancing, or building your dream home, please call or email me, or come see me at the South Lowry branch. It would bless me to assist in financing your dreams. Why the Hawaiian shirt? Closing on your home is a celebration, not a business meeting. Go Hawks!
He shoots, and he scores!
We offer services for both men and women, breast, body, and face for both.
People come to plastic surgery offices because they want to improve something that they feel is a flaw in themselves.
About 10 years ago, our men's procedures were probably about 10% of what we did. Nowadays, it's more like 30 or 40%. Eyelid lifts, liposuction, and we even do hair transplants here.
We are part of the community, and we want to be able to walk around and see faces in the community that we've made happy.
Welcome back to Toots Restaurant on Broad Street on the Rutherford County High School Football Show. With the regular season coming to an end on Friday, let's take a final look at the standings. First, let's look at Region 3 6A. Riverdale earned the region title with their win over Oakland, who finished in second and will still get a first-round home playoff game. Siegel managed to get their way with a big win over Rockville. Due to a total victory tiebreaker between Siegel, Rockville, and Blackman, Blackman is out. In a situation like this, you start to wonder, scheduling tough out-of-region opponents is beneficial or not. I know Blackman scheduled, was it Brentwood early in the season, and they had some tough opponents, and I don't know.
Ravenwood.
I don't know if one more out-of-region win would have done it for them, but I see Siegel and Rockville were 5-5 regular season. Blackman was 4-6. And they're the team that's out, and I know that's the first tiebreaker. So,
yeah, I think most teams want to play a difficult non-schedule. I know Smyrna always has. Some teams maybe it's not very beneficial for them to do that. They're not ready to take on that type of competition, but it makes you better. I mean, it can make you better if you're on the cusp of having a good team. you want to play good teams. Unfortunately, a lot of those schools in Williamson County fight the battle that the Riverdales and Oaklands do over here. They have a hard time getting games. So thus they end up playing one another from quite a few matchups. Oakland went over to Ravenwood a couple weeks ago. Riverdale has always played one or two teams from over there. I don't think you can worry. You don't have a crystal ball that says, we may get in a three-way tie. You just got to go out and play your schedule and see what happens.
And like we mentioned, it really did come down to the Blackman-Rockvale game.
Yeah.
If Blackman would have won that, they'd be in the playoffs, and Rockvale would be out. But anyway, let's move over to Region 5, 6A. Smyrna maintained a perfect region record, winning their last 6 games of the year. Antioch beat Laverne, earning the 2nd spot. Stewart's Creek beat McGavock, putting them in 3rd. And Laverne was able to win some games and played everyone pretty close all year, but only 4 teams make it, not 5.
Yeah, they went about as you would plan after we had a sample size of what that region looked like. I mean, you were sitting there at one point. Smyrna, Cane Ridge and Smyrna have dominated that. They've been 1 and 2 every year since I can remember. And after week 4, they were both 0 and 4. Yeah. So you're like, okay, what the heck's going on here, And Antioch continues to make great strides. Smyrna improved. And so there you go. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the playoffs.
Going over to Region 5, 1A. Moore County was perfect on the season. Collinwood sits at number 2, and Eagleville beat Cornersville, giving them 3rd place instead of 4th. Good by the Eagles, really winning when it mattered most here late in the season.
Yeah, they've basically been in playoff mode the last 2 weeks and came out smelling like roses.
And now over to Division 2. MTCS had a perfect region record, winning the regular season championship. Friendship right behind in 2nd. How about PCA going 500 in their first season and even guaranteeing a home playoff?
Yeah, good stuff for them. They've came a long way since week 1.
Yeah. Again, congratulations to MTCS. It seems like that game against Friendship really was the championship there.
Yeah, it was. No doubt about it. I mean, they're 1A, 1B, clearly the 2 best teams in that region.
And we at Main Street Media believe the players deserve recognition for all of their hard work seen on display every Friday night. Monty, who is this week's Rutherford County Player of the Week?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt you've got to go with Riverdale quarterback Braden Graham. The senior was 30 of 41 for 310 yards and 4 touchdowns, including the game-winning drive of 80 yards in about a minute. And he also, when they were trailing 17-0, orchestrated that drive that cut a 17-0 lead to 17-7, which, as I said earlier, I thought was the key to the game.
Absolutely. I believe that was his 35th touchdown on the year.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
He almost has, I think he was close to 3,000 passing yards. I mean, it's crazy. His completion percentage is, I think, about 80%. Don't quote me on that, but
it's over 70.
Yeah.
But he's dialed in, and he's got, like I said, you pick your poison on those receivers.
And he's only thrown 2 picks on the year.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So 35 and 2 touchdown to interception ratio. That's about as good as it gets. It honestly reminds me, it pains me to say this, reminds me of that Tennessee-Alabama game when, Tennessee's leading at halftime by about 17 points. And then it goes to the second half and things just kind of shifted the other way.
Got shut down, yeah.
wasn't as drastic. It was a little bit closer, but still, just talking about it here makes me think about that. And now you thought you had it won, and you never know what can happen in the second half. Different team can come out of the locker room.
Oh, tale of 2 halves. How many times have you heard that saying?
Well, now let's go to our interview with Eagleville head coach Floyd Walker as he prepares for the playoffs.
We're going to be joined now by Eagleville football coach Floyd Walker. the Eagles back in the playoffs for the 7th year in a row. That's got a pretty good ring to it, don't it, Coach?
Yeah, it does, man. It really does. I'm happy for our kids. There's some things that transpired early on in the year, and you didn't know whether or not they were going to have a shot at getting in, but they kind of fought through it and worked their way back into a third place finish in our region. So my hat goes off to this group of kids.
And, really not knowing how going into last week, some crazy things could have possibly happened. Who knows? But one thing the last 2 weeks for sure for you guys, if we take care of our business, we're in good business. And so you've kind of been in that playoff mindset already, haven't you?
Yeah, we really were. It wasn't one of those things we kind of dwelled on. We just kind of went about our daily business. We didn't really talk about playoffs. We didn't talk about ifs and buts. We just tried to be, it's a kind of cliche deal. We just tried to take care of ourselves. And whatever happened after that just happened. And fortunate enough, we were able to win the last 2.
You mentioned you had a couple hiccups there, toward the middle of the year, but you fought through it. How do you handle that? You've been doing this a long time. How do you handle it when you're struggling?
I mean, the biggest thing that you got to do is you just try to make sure that you do the simplest things correctly. If you're on offense, you make sure that if you take your base plays and you make sure that those kids understand exactly what they're supposed to do on those plays. And then on defensive side of it, it goes back to tackle. I mean, if you can tackle and you tackle well, that's probably a good chance that you're going to limit people on the amount of points that they can get. And hopefully you just end up with one more than they do.
Well, you talked about your third place in your region. That was a pretty doggone tough region this year. I mean, even Wayne County, you see them down there at the bottom, they can be a handful.
Oh, and they were a handful. Of course, they beat us early on down at their place and everything. So they're a good football team. And they cause you a lot of problems with what they do schematically, offensively, and defensively. And they stubbed their toe because I think Huntland snuck up and got them one game. So it was one of those deals. If you take Moore County out of the mix, it could have been this region could have been up for grabs for any other 16.
You feel like it kind of gives you a taste of what the playoffs are all about. You play 3, and you mentioned you play a couple other teams could easily be in the playoffs, maybe if they were in another region.
Yeah, it does. It does, because when you start talking about playoff football, is you got to understand it. It's a possibility if you don't play well, you're done. And it got kind of to that point with us, even though we didn't really talk about it, but we knew that if we lost against Richland or we lost against Cornsville, it was a good possibility that we could have got left out of this thing.
Okay, West Carroll. I know when you go west, you always face a tough opponent. It doesn't really matter who they are, but I believe is this the first time you faced them, isn't it?
It's the first time I've ever faced them. First time we've ever really heard about them. We didn't know anything about West Carroll. We knew a little bit about McKenzie because they were in there with Dresden, and we've gone to Dresden the last 2 years. So we're just trying to get our bearings straight on West Carroll. Actually where it's located at, what kind of football team they've got, what they do offensively and defensively, and how we kind of match up against them.
And in these games that are magnified with no do-overs or mulligans, we'll go a golf term there.
Right.
Special teams can be critical too, can't they?
Special teams are always critical in playoff games. If you have a hiccup, or if you muff a punt or a kickoff or get something blocked, or you miss an extra point, everything is magnified a little bit more in the playoff game, because the simplest thing can cost you a win and eliminate you. So we'll try to clean up all that stuff this week too. We always try to hit all of our special teams to make sure that we're kind of sound in that. So, but yeah, it could be a big problem for you if you don't execute it.
Y'all are probably the most experienced team around here as far as long road trips
We are
Friday.
there.
I know some go out of state, but what's your itinerary Friday?
We'll get the kids out of class probably Friday around 1 o'clock, and we'll get them loaded up, and we'll head out of here about 2. We'll have pregame meal on the road, probably somewhere around Dixon. We normally stop at Colton's Steakhouse when we go west, so we'll stop at Colton's, have pregame meal, and then I think it's like an hour and a half ride from there to Atwood, Tennessee. So we'll load up and leave Colton's probably about 3:45, and hopefully get in there about 5:15.
All right, Coach. Hey, we appreciate the couple times you come on and joined us this year, and good luck to the Eagles this week.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it, man. Thanks.
It's Floyd Walker joining us today as his Eagles are headed to the playoffs again.
I'm Dr. Webb. I'm the owner and operator of Webb Aesthetic Plastic Surgery here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We offer services for both men and women, breast, body, and face for both.
I meet with patients who are ready to schedule surgery. We talk about their pre-op appointments, what to expect before surgery, what to expect during and after surgery.
We graduated medical school and nursing school the same day, and I had things that I believed in and stood by that I wasn't willing to compromise on. So when he came home, we had to discuss that we were on the same page with how we treated patients and staff. We want them to feel like they're part of our family.
If you're looking for a great deal, look no further than the Yard Sale Store. Our locally owned and award-winning store is stocked with daily arrivals of new items at unbeatable prices. From housewares to sporting goods, flooring to furniture, we have everything you need. With our huge selection and discounts up to 90% off retail, you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Visit us today at one of our 3 convenient locations or check out our website, yardsalestore.com, to see our latest arrivals.
Watch it! Did that guy even see that girl on her bike?
Just like looking for other cars before switching lanes, drivers should keep their eyes out for those traveling on bikes. When a crash occurs between a vehicle and a bike, it's the cyclist who is most likely to be injured. Give cyclists room and do not pass too closely. Riders have the same rights and responsibilities as those behind the wheel.
Be aware, be alert. Brought to you by THSO, the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
What separates us from other companies in Tennessee, that's going to be our mission to our customers, is to always improve the quality of life. That's from taking care of your past to a friendly voice on the phone when you call, to a technician that comes out and he's competent, he's going to solve the problem for you. We're considered a full encompassing service, so we're going to take care of 50 plus different pests, and we'll always have your back.
Sticking with us as we continue to cover some of the best football played in the state right here on the Rutherford County High School Football Show. Next up, we have Monty's picks. Monty is 69-21 on the season, picking game winners, so I'm curious to hear who he is going to pick this week. First round of the playoffs is here, and we have 8 games to determine, with MTCS getting a first round bye. First, let's talk about Eagleville. They're traveling to West Carroll.
Well, Eagle 6-4, West Carroll 5-4. Admittedly, no zero about West Carroll. I know typically when you travel west, they're very tough matchups. Eagle's hot, but I think West Carroll beats them about 21-14.
And I'm gonna make a couple of picks this week too. I'm going to go against you, Monty, just to be a homer here, and I'm going to take Eagleville.
Okay.
Moving on, we got Seagoville traveling to Cookeville.
Long trip, good team. I think it's going to be a close game.
Definitely.
I think this is a tougher region, much tougher region than Lebanon, Gallatin, and them, but I'm going to take Cookeville 28-27.
Honestly, I might have to agree with you on this one. It's just going to be tough traveling all the way to Cookeville and to beat those folks. We will be going for the Stars here in Rutherford County. I'm not going to be making that drive, but we're still pulling for you, Siegel. And PCA is hosting Nashville Christian at Floyd Stadium.
I think probably the records are 4-6. Nashville Christian, PCA 5-5. You don't know how PCA is going to respond in this game. Would be in its first 11-man football. I think Nashville Christian, they've been doing it longer. Got a well-established program. I'm not sure who all they played this season, but I'm going to take them 24-20.
And I'm going to pick probably similar score, maybe a little lower than that. I'm going to go with PCA.
All right.
Home team. Stewart's Creek is traveling to Ravenwood. Monty?
This is where I think this is obviously one of those games we're going to see the difference in one region versus another. I mean, they're both 7-3, but I think Ravenwood's too strong for Stewart's Creek, and I'll pick them 35-20.
Hate to say it. I mean, Stewart's Creek is hot, but Ravenwood does have a more storied program. They've just been strong for the past few years.
Yeah, I mean, their last two losses were to Oakland and Brentwood's undefeated. So,
yeah, I'll go with you on this one. I'm going to pick the home team with Ravenwood. Smyrna is hosting Independence. Monty?
Seems like they play this game every year. Smyrna's won 6 in a row. 6-4. Independence is 5-5. Again, I'm going back to that region. I'm going to take Independence 24-17.
Yeah, I like that total there. That sounds about right. I'm going to take Smyrna. I'm just going to take the home team here.
You're just riding the home teams out, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. And we have Riverdale hosting Green Hill.
Well, this should be over by halftime, but you never know about 16 to 18-year-old kids, how they're going to respond after slaying the giant last week, and all that stuff. But they'll keep them grounded, and Riverdale will win 42-14.
Yeah, I'm not going against Riverdale at this point. I got Riverdale over Green Hill. Oakland is hosting Gallatin. Monty?
Oakland Large would not want to be playing them this week.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. I got the Patriots.
I'm gonna say stick with the 42-14.
Okay, I like that score. And now our game of the week. Unfortunately, we do not have any Rutherford County matchups, but we do have an interesting matchup between Region 3 and 4 as Rockvale travels to Mount Juliet. Both teams are coming off losses, looking to correct mistakes and advance to round 2.
Boy, if I could get in the head of them Rockvale players.
Yeah.
What's making you tick right now? I can't figure. I've said it all year. A month in the season, I don't know I can't figure him out. I mean, and I can't. They could win that game. I mean, they really could, but I'll have to take Mount Juliet at home 31-21.
I'm going to take the other Rockvale team, the Rockvale B team that is going to come out.
Well, you are going homer today, aren't you?
I'm going to take them to beat Mount Juliet. It's going to be a close game, though. I think that's going to be a real close game, and I hope the Rockets can prevail. But thanks for hanging out with us on the Rutherford County High School Football Show. We will be recapping all 8 of the games played this weekend and previewing any of the teams that win, including MTCS, who we know will be advancing. But we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. right here at Toots Restaurant on Broad Street. Take care.
You've been watching the Rutherford County High School Football Show with Murfreesboro Post sports editor Monte Hale and Nick Gould. Read this week's Murfreesboro Post for all the latest news about Rutherford County High School sports.
The Rutherford County High School Football Show has been brought to you by Web Aesthetic Plastic Surgery and Med Spa, Moxie Pest Control, The Yard Sale Store, Michael Wilson with First Bank Mortgage, Garbison Construction, and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Join us each week at this time on Main Street Media TV to get the latest on Rutherford County football.